So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services that we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yeshayahu the prophet of Israel, rejected by his own people. He was then destroyed and sawn in half, and then these days we are studying his manuscripts because those are from heaven, and then these documents given us the perfect understanding of the time of the restoration period, plus then the events prior of the starting of the autumn feast. It was obviously then explained earlier. Sections of the autumn feast, they belong in spring feast. The translators unfortunately did not understand what they were doing. So when you read what you know as Gospels, this name is non-existent from the Hebrew language. You don't find this name. We don't know what it is. But we do know that there is the spring feast found in Leviticus the 23rd chapter, where you get your understanding of the times and the seasons. When you read then Leviticus the 23rd chapter from the first verse until the 21st verse, you understand spring feast. The Messiah came and he completed the spring feast. We are then during the time prior of the autumn feast. So then, from the 61st chapter, we find then a layer of understanding of the spring feast, mentioning of the autumn feast, and the cities of the Messiah laid waste for many centuries. Because of the holy cities are returning, and the first holy city on the land of Cush, as per the instructions of Yeshayahu, chapter 1:8. However, chapters, they do not make any sense while reading the instructions of Yeshayahu. You don't read by numbers. There are no chapters and no verses. You have to understand the content and the context from tabernacling. So then Ruach HaKodesh can direct you on how to read sections of it, and then you understand areas belong of the spring feast, area belongs then autumn feast, areas belong in then the time of the restoration period, areas belong in then the restoration period from the time of the seat and then time of the dragon, and then the transition from the time of these transitions. You understand a couple of situations. The first is then obviously time of the seat, 1,000 years of the seat, and the time of the dragon. You understand those. Those are from the time of Daniel, where then people would go to and fro. His people would get mixed up with the world for a time, and then knowledge would increase at the end of it, and then we are during the time of the dragon. Understandable. Now comes then the understanding of Ezekiel 37th chapter, the couple of sticks, where then you understand Tabernacle receives a stick, and then the Ishmaelites receive the other stick. During this time, we are transitioning from the deceit and dragon, from devil to dragon. Devil no longer exists. You have to understand we are during the time of the dragon, time of precision, and it's not a bad name. So when you hear the word dragon, is not bad. Devil is bad. It's deceit, it's mockery, it's bad. Dragon is not. It's simply precision. You have to know what you're talking about, and then you remain precise. This is what it means, dragon. In a world outside tabernacling, dragon, precision. So then, afterwards, we find then from the dragon's trade, started with the Chinese, very wisely. Then it is given then the trade on the hands of the Ishmaelites. Obviously, they received the stick of authority of trade much later. So then, today we found lots of information, and also yesterday, regarding then very wise news from Australia. Every time you want reliable information, if you want filtered information, searched information, if you want pure information, you read from ABC News. Came out then a very important article regarding Mr. Putin from Soviet Union, and he abolished any kind of conversation of gay relationship, same-sex relationship of any kind other than the normal is absolutely abolished from the land of the Northern Kingdom. So we are understanding this serious situation going on the Northern Kingdom. However, we must understand there are no talks back. People, unfortunately, if they don't go along with the laws of the land of the Northern Kingdom, they have to get out of there and then migrate to another country. It is absolutely undisputable. Simply can't be against. Unfortunately, this is the way it is. Unfortunately, of the case of those who want to go against, but they can't. They have to understand the importance of the restoration period, where you read Daniel the 11th chapter, where then the Northern Kingdom is similar as the first king of the statue of Daniel. It is extremely important. You may think, some people may think these might be, beyond and far above, but it's not. Because it was a time related for these when then Daniel spoke. Time of the restoration, where the world would experience again what it means of a head of gold. We are going to find the best of the Gentiles in every direction, and then the best of tabernacling. And tabernacling includes also the sons of Ibrahim, because the holy promise came from the second son, but the second son couldn't do what he did without the first son. So they complete each other. A son is related with the world's trade, the other son tabernacling, holy. But both of them complete each other. So then, these ban or these signed law, it is very severe. Any relationship other than the normal, it is severely punished and undisputable. So then let's understand the importance of then the September, the G20 visit Soviet Union. It is extremely important, must be delineated what they want from the BRICS system. If you read the news from China, if you read the news from Africa, and most importantly, if you read the news of the managers in Soviet Union, you begin to understand the importance of these visits in September. In America, nothing's going on. It is absolutely disorganized yet at the moment. But it is changing. There are some changes very important going on in the government, and we hope at some point they can maybe adopt the dragon market in our land, because it would provide us with thousands of construction jobs and then becoming a trading post of the Chinese. If our pride let, then we would. But we don't know. And the prophet is not around to give directives. So then, the next step is being very informed as far as then the great country of Australia, because they have the best forward motion of the moment. Not only in Cancun you find then the project of the Dragon Mart more than 30% completed, serving as a model for the other countries. Granted, not every country is going to have a Dragon Mart. It has to have a specific region, a specific coverage, geographical area, has to have then the clearance from Mr. Xi from China, obviously, and then the trading post in certain areas of the world, certainly South Pacific. So Australia has its future already secured. Then comes Brazil. In South Brazil, then the South Atlantic, you would have to have a Dragon Mart. It's extremely simple. And then the North America would be either US, unlikely, or Canada. Because in the Northwest route then already links up with the Soviet Union and becomes then a friend relationship of trade. And then obviously India, because they are part of the BRICS. So then this visit in September is extremely important. Leaders should be absolutely concerned of what they should say, what they should present, And what are the plans regarding infrastructure or infrastructuring of their countries based from those objectives set up on a G20 website? If a person shows up over there without the objectives, without understanding what they mean, they're going to be very awkward. You can be sure of it. Because the Northern Kingdom has changed. It's no longer the country they used to know. It is the Soviet Union rebirthed. So get yourselves acquainted, because it is true. As such, then, the situation changes, because it's a bit more serious than before, but is for the purposes of then development. And if you read those objectives, they are straightforward, always providing more trade. If you study very cautiously, you don't find military involvement. You find management of those areas on favor of the Chinese. Thus, then, the dragon period is becoming more evident. So then, exciting news, because we find then, very seriously, countries then understanding their part. And if they are part of the G20, if they show up without their objectives then on paper, then they are simply stupid. And let's hope then the directors of the G20 won't say stupid in their faces. Hope not.